The issue with the Maui fires is that you're not falling for the narrative. Why is why do the powers that be, why are they failing right now at convincing people of their brainwashing, of the narratives that they're trying to form? I'll tell you exactly why. You'll never be able to unhear a lot of this stuff that I'm about to say. You guys have heard a lot about what's going on with the Maui fires. You know that there's a lot of people who don't believe the bullshit. But why isn't it working? The reason why it's not working is because there's a community there. You can't really lie to the community. In addition to that, you have the internet. So people are communicating over the internet with people who are there, right? Okay. So what did they have to do? They had to prevent the ability for people to be able to communicate out. So they don't have internet there now. If you want to communicate with people online, you have to use Starlink in Hawaii. Okay. So none of this stuff is coincidental. This is all on purpose. So if you understand the narrative in terms of what the agenda is, and then how that agenda is communicated over through stories, reporting, whatever, none of this should be surprising to you. Okay, so off the bat, a lot of anomalies with the Maui fire, right? And because there's anomalies, the narrative or the media, what they like to do is they like to push competing narratives to drown out the attention from what's actually happening. Okay, so you had stuff like direct energy weapons with zero evidence of direct energy weapons. Why? And then having the focus be sent to that because that's what people who appear to be crackpots are promoting. They're trying to say that this is what was causing these disasters. Listen, if you don't have evidence to support these claims, it's not doing you a favor. It's not doing anybody a favor. What it's actually doing is it's hurting you. Instead, you can just say that it's arson. Okay? Now you don't have to point to what was causing or what caused that arson. It could have been fucking people on the ground with lighters. Okay? Or flint and then just creating sparks until they created a fire. Okay? Now the direction of the fires, the behavior of the fire, very anomalous. Sure. Now you can go and do a whole 9/11 scale report to investigate the wind trajectory, why the alarms weren't set off for alerting people about the fires, like a natural disaster stuff. You can do all of that. That's fine. You're going to be way behind. You're going to be way behind on this, okay? Because by the time it all comes out, it's going to be years down the road. What's happening right now is really important for people to really understand this. This land grab, you can just call it a land grab, now has another narrative. Why? Because the land grab is exactly what it is. There's a competing narrative. Again, this is called misdirection. Misdirection is very important when you're trying to get people to shut the fuck up. Okay? Plantation disaster capitalism. Why is this being associated with capitalism? Okay, now comparing this to socialism versus capitalism is way beyond and not necessary for the point of this video or for the Maui fires. But what's important here is to understand that the people who are writing the narratives now want you to start focusing on your identity, your group that you're part of, instead of what's actually happening, because you need to be focused on the people who did this. Don't start separating yourselves into little cliques. I'm a socialist, or I'm a capitalist, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. None of that matters. None of it matters. What matters is, are you getting to keep your own property? Do you get to keep your own life? And why is our government so fucking tyrannical that now they don't even need to hide the fact that they will come and kill you to make a buck? What's this area? This area is very well known for people in Lahaina. They didn't want to sell their property. They didn't want to sell it to the banks. They didn't want to sell it to the real estate agents or the giant mega corporations, who, by the way, are not capitalists, but we'll just fucking avoid that for right now. Again, we're not trying to separate into little siloed off groups with our own preferred identities. This was a land grab, okay? And they went so far as to kill people for it. Not just, bodies, life lost, whatever, property. There is just no limit anymore. You are your cattle. Okay, why is this a really big issue? I have a big issue on this in many different ways. This is like a boiling point for me, and it should be a boiling point for you. Where do you go? Where are you going to be safe? Who is the enemy here? If you can't answer these fucking questions, then you're useless. Why? Because you can't even see who the enemy is. If you can't see who the enemy is, you have distractions upon distractions. Anybody could come down the fray and they could say, hey, look, that person is the bad guy, that capitalist over there. They can say, hey, the mayor was the bad guy, and you know what? From what it looks like, he is definitely complicit. But he would be a fall guy. The guy who probably got paid a few $1,000,000 to be the fall guy. Who is really responsible? You don't know your enemy. You don't know your enemy, and you probably don't even know yourself to ask those questions, to be comfortable questioning things, because you have no survival instinct. Shame on you. These people will come to your farm. You think you're safe in a homestead somewhere off grid? They will come to your fucking farm and they'll gut you. You and your entire family. They'll skin you alive. You think they have a fucking problem with that? They don't have a problem with that. You can't run from this. You can't. The people who are responsible need to be brought into the light. Brought into the light. They need to be exposed. And you can find out who the fuck they are. So don't sit back and relax. Push on this. Because those same people who set those houses on fire, who did the land grab, are now asking you for donations. Why? So they can buy that cheap land, that cheap, sweet land now with your money. They're going to profit off of this disaster with your money. They're not even going to pay for any of it. You are. You are the idiot who will fucking donate to this. Fuck you. If you're not pissed about this, you're not awake. You're not alive. You're a fucking empty vessel. You're a piece of shit. So wake the fuck up. These people will come for you. They'll come for your whole entire existence, your family, your legacy. They'll erase you completely because they don't care. So what the fuck do you have anymore to lose? Just say the truth. Look into this stuff. Your 9 to 5 doesn't matter. Nothing matters. If you haven't looked into this guy yet, I really strongly encourage you to. His name is Ted Kaczynski. Have you heard of him? I hope you have. I hope you have. The pipe bomber, right? The Unabomber. Look into him. The dude was way ahead of his time. And everything that he said is coming to light. Why? Do you know what the revelation of the method is? Sometimes you have to say what you're going to do. Actually, most people, when they do something to get rid of guilt or to pass off guilt, they'll tell you exactly what fucked up shit that they've done. They'll come clean. They'll do it. They need to. Okay? It's like a deep psychological thing. So it's called the revelation of the method. You tell people what you're going to do before you do it, or you tell them after the fact. Okay. Ted Kaczynski mentioned a few things that are extraordinarily prescient. Okay? And if you go back and read his why do I want to say manuscript? His manifesto. You'll see that everything that he said is actually coming to fruition. And I'm going to not give you a play-by-play about his manifesto. Go ahead and read it yourself. Just like you should actually look into these narratives right now and who you're trying to donate to. Don't fucking donate blindly. You're going to pay for these people. You're paying the arsonists. Anyways, I want to ask you a hypothetical question. Let's say you know exactly what the playbook is. What is the direction that society and humanity is supposed to go to? I'm gonna just tell it to you. There's a eugenics program happening. If you're not capitulating, if you're not compliant, you are out. You're out of the system. You're a burden to the system. The system can't handle you. You need to go. So how do you do that? The people who are aggressive, who know the system knows will fight back, what will they do? Well, let's ship them off to war. Okay, we don't need them around. We'll get them killed. Okay, that's one. All right. The people who will reproduce, that are Christian, that have values, that have morals, that have things that are outside of the state, let's kill them too. I'm not saying myself. I'm saying, speaking as part of the system. The system says that. Says, let's kill them too. Okay? So how do they do that? Well, if somebody is very moral, they like to follow the rules. Okay, let's give them vaccines. Right? Let's do all these things. Let's fucking drug them. Let's give them birth control. Let's make sure that they're constantly on some revolving door for the medical system. Right? We will kill you slowly, and we'll ensure that you can't reproduce. And if you reproduce, we'll ensure that your next generation, your offspring, will not want to. And if you do want to reproduce, if you have a fighting spirit, if your will to power, as Nietzsche likes to say, is competitive to the system that you're within, that you're inside of, we will ship you off to war. We'll create wars if necessary. We don't need you here. The ones who do capitulate will reward you with mindless debauchery, hedonistic activities. You can live and have as much sex as you want, drink as much alcohol as you want, no fucking fear of consequences. All we ask is that you live in a really unhealthy environment, that you're constantly burdened by debt, and that you do exactly what we tell you when we tell you. Now, if you understand this, if you really understand this, people will self-organize. They'll say, you know what? I do want to live in a system like that. You know why? Because all my needs are met. I don't have to go fight. I don't have to go kill for my own food. I don't have to worry about seasons. So I'm gonna go to the cities. I'm gonna move to the cities and have all my needs met. I'm gonna live in comfort. And then you keep doing that generation after generation. The system slowly inoculates you through technology, because technology makes you complacent, makes you compliant. And that complacency is a cage. It's a cage, it's a slave cage that you unwittingly gave all of your freedoms to in exchange for comfort. And having that comfort, motherfucker, is not freedom. So what would be the opposite of that? The opposite is to own property, to own land, to be in some way self-sufficient, to live outside of the system in some way, or to ensure that the system is small enough to not dwarf every other aspect of your life, to control you in every way possible. The Maui fires are a symptom of this. They know that they have control over everybody, and they're making sure that it's known. So now, if nobody says anything about this, if the people responsible for the arsons are able to get their scapegoats arrested while they collect their money, collect their rewards, there is no justice here. This is a weird war that you're in. You're not exempt from this. This war relies on your docility, on your compliance. The people who don't participate in this war will lose. And the people who do participate in this war will likely lose. But you have no choice. The only people who are not aware of this, they are either they're self-delusional, they're delusional, they're deluding themselves, or they're participating in it. The people who are delusional, that are deluding themselves, into believing that nothing is wrong when you have an economy that is absolute fucking horseshit. When you don't own anything. When you have no ability to even take care of your family. And you're okay with that. That is the exact type of docile sheep that the system is selecting. There is a eugenics program here. If you're not for it, then you're going to be bred out the system or killed. And a good way of breeding somebody out of the system is to make sure that they can't compete. Right? Make things so difficult for them that they can't compete. Or outright burn their land and their property. Or kill them. You don't understand what's happening. And I don't blame you. Marketing is a motherfucker. It's a form of wizardry that you can't even comprehend. These people control you from your thoughts. You're not allowed to say certain words. You're not allowed to speak. Because if you do, you've just committed a sin. How is that not witchcraft? How is that not wizardry? How are you not controlled from your very own thoughts? And you comply because you're a sheep. This isn't going to end well. Now again, what I said, I stand by it. You are either asleep or you're awake to this. You realize what's happening. If you can see what's going on, you have no choice but to fight. You do. You have to. I don't mean go burn down your government buildings. You could do something very, very small by just talking to the next person. Telling them, hey, listen, don't fucking donate! If you want to donate, wait until there's a fund that's going to look into investigating this. Make sure that that fund is connected to a blockchain. So all the records are public. All of it. If they can't meet those requirements, those standards, don't fucking donate. Don't donate to any relief fund. Are you serious? That relief fund is going to turn around, pay out the victims at a fraction of what their properties are actually worth. Why? Because there's no buildings on them anymore. The houses got burned. Why would we pay full price? Who's going in to do it? Who's going in to buy the properties? BlackRock, Vanguard. Is this plantation disaster capitalism? Or are these criminals? Are these tyrants who control you? And you'll go flip through TikTok and Pornhub like a good little fucking slave. Brain dead. Useless. You know what? I think Ted Kaczynski was absolutely right in his prescience. But I think if this is the path that humanity is going to go, then we all deserve to die. And I don't take that back.